All right, it is time now once again for the Don and Eli Take on the World podcast. My name is Elias Mellis, but you can call me Eli for short. And who's this incredible lady over here to my right?
I'm your girlfriend, Dawn Ledgerwood.
That's right. You're my girlfriend, Dawn Ledgerwood, and I'm getting better at not overly emphasizing the intro of our, show's title. And part of the reason is because I love you and I don't want to drive you crazy. Another reason is I'm a little under the weather. I've got a stomach flu. So I hope I can make it through the show. I think I will. I think I'll be fine. I'll power through it like I normally do. But, yeah. Anyway, babe. So, let's get right to it here. Welcome back to another episode of the Don and Eli Take on the World podcast. This is episode number 45, and today's topic is why some people can't de-escalate online. One more time. Episode number 45 of the Don and Eli Take on the World podcast is about why some people can't de-escalate online. Now, most people argue online, feel their emotions, and eventually move on. Today, we're talking about why some people don't and what happens when escalation becomes the goal instead of resolution. This episode isn't about blaming or shaming. It is about understanding patterns, because understanding patterns helps us protect ourselves and choose healthier responses. Before we get to our monologue, babe, how do you feel about that intro there? How do you feel about the topic today?
Well, I think it's very appropriate for a lot of things going on in the YouTube world. And so it's something we need to talk about.
It's not just YouTube, babe. It's the entire internet. It's taking over our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll let Ethan Mixell's Double Helix end right here. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Before we get to this very, very interesting yet very important topic, as always, my lovely lady, how's the past week been over here at the GNA? It's been another interesting week, but we've powered through it.
Yeah, we absolutely do power through it every week. As far as my week, it's just been a great week. Very low key, not too much to do. Just again, still doing some spring cleaning. Lots of stuff to pack up, holiday stuff and all of that stuff, and get the storage organized, just little things like that. So other than that, my week has just been great. Mm-hmm. How about your week?
It's been very interesting. Everybody that's been following us for a while knows that a little over 4 months ago, I sued a YouTuber in a circuit civil case in the state of Florida where he lives. We're in California. The person that I'm suing, he's in Florida, so you have to sue in their jurisdiction. And after 4 months, we're finally going to have our first hearing on January 6th, Friday, January 6th. And so I was preparing for that. I had to put together a packet for that, a filing for that, and I still have a little bit more work to prep for that. And I'll tell you, I'm representing myself pro se, and so is he. Can't afford the attorney. I mean, obviously, even if I was making more money than I'm making now, it would still cost an arm and a leg.
Mm-hmm.
With the amount of work that it has already taken, with all the filings that have, happened regarding this case. I've been dealing with this YouTuber for the last 6 to 8 years, and his group of associates that act in concert with him. It's been like a big mob attack. And I've had to fight them off one by one on my own. Sure, my ladies helped me and other people have helped me, but ultimately it's been me doing it. It's like man against the world, it seems like. right?
Yeah.
It's like me against 100. And it has slowed down, which is great. But it took a lot of effort and energy to get there. And on top of creating our normal YouTube content every week, almost every day, this podcast gets recorded on Sundays. That gets released on Wednesdays, not just for YouTube, but the entire audio-only podcast network. On top of other things we have going on, doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, keeping the house clean, taking care of 2 dogs.
And just taking care of our relationship and each other.
Oh, yeah, we find time for that, too.
Yes, we try to.
Well,
there's so little time in the day that we do our best.
Right. Everything I mentioned is a part of our relationship. I mean, look, we've got to take care of our responsibilities to keep a roof over our head. We've got to maintain our cars so they keep functioning so we can get around and go to these appointments and do other necessary things. We got 2 dogs we're taking care of, and they're getting up in age. The bigger dog, Bochi, is 10 years old. Buster is now
9.
9. So
well,
9.
He'll be 9 in a week.
He'll be 9 in a week. Right. Bochi turned 10 last month, right?
Yes.
So, there's just a lot going on and just trying to keep it together. I think everyone understands this. Everyone goes through this. It's called life.
Yeah.
It's called life.
Yeah. Life. Ups and downs. Goods and bads.
It's just the average everyday things you need to do, to maintain the best possible life you can have.
Yeah.
With what you've got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a great week, but I've been going very hard in the paint. I like to call it hard in the paint, like they do in basketball. And my body's telling me to slow down. So this weekend I didn't do my walks. I normally, after we record this show on Sunday, I would do a walk, but I'm not going to be doing that. I'll be back on the walks, tomorrow.
Yeah.
On Monday. But yeah, so that's about it. But anyway, anything else you want to mention before we get to the topic here? Because it's very, very interesting, and I have questions to ask you that I'll also be sharing my thoughts on as well. Anything else, babe?
Just that I love you.
Well, I love you too. That goes without saying, right?
Mm-hmm. But it's nice to hear.
It's nice to hear, absolutely. The ladies want to hear it all the time. You as a man, you don't want to oversay it unless your lady wants you to say it. It's all good. I love my lady. It goes without saying, but it's all good. It's all good. So, before we get to it, we're going to be talking about disagreement versus escalation today. We're going to be talking about why online conflict feels more intense than real life, and it does.
Mm-hmm.
How algorithms and attention incentives reward intensity. And the idea that de-escalation is a skill, not a default setting. It's so hard to de-escalate, huh, babe?
Oh, yeah. Once it gets started, once that flame goes, it's really hard to put it out.
Yeah, one of our G&A executives, ODN, he goes by Old Dirty Ninja on YouTube. He was doing a stream earlier today on YouTube, and I was listening, and he was talking about, women and, some of the women he's been friends with on YouTube and how, they do things that have disappointed him and this and that. And, I'm not trying to shame or criticize women, and both men and women overreact.
All the time.
But, I put in the chat, I said, look, you have to understand, women are women. And until you live with a woman like I have for, over 4 years, maybe you won't understand it, but, women are emotional beings at a natural and biological level. They are. And they respond to everything emotionally first based on how they're feeling in the present moment. That's just how they are. You either accept it or you're going to be a lonely man for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I say this respectfully because because part of a woman's biology, and you correct me if I'm wrong, is sometimes you need some form of drama to regulate those emotions daily, right?
I wouldn't speak for all women in that sense. I know plenty that don't engage in any drama and they don't want it around them. But I would say majority of women do like to have the drama in their inner circle.
Well, you're a rare exception to that, and I respect you and appreciate you for that. Well, what's been happening on YouTube, with a lot of the women, and some men overreact too, don't get me wrong. I mean, men are going to overreact at times, and that's normal. You're going to see women that are caught up in the drama overreacting constantly because it's more so a part of their natural biology. And so, I'm trying to put it out there to everyone that, hey, you got to understand why it's going on and don't contribute to it. If anyone, male or female, is overreacting and not behaving properly and it's just a waste of your time, just ignore them and move on.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this topic, is because, part of de-escalating is not pouring more fuel on someone else's fire, right? So, don't pour fuel on someone else's fire. If you're not involved in a conflict online, don't insert yourself just because you're upset that that person used to be your friend and now they're hanging out with other people that, you don't want to hang out with. You just have to walk away. Mm-hmm. That's what you have to do, is just walk away. It's the sane and right thing to do, right?
Yeah, and it's hard to walk away from something like that. When you had trust with somebody and you felt that they really were a friend, it really is hard to walk away from, but it's what you have to do.
Yeah, you got to do what's best for you first. And it's so easy. It's so easy to get sucked in to online drama because, even myself, I always want to do the right thing. And a lot of the stuff I see is just ridiculous, especially for grown-ass adults, right? And I've called it out before, but what does it do? They just keep amping it up. They keep on responding. At some point, you've got to cut off their fuel supply. You've got to cut off their oxygen and just say, hey, you know what? Just ignore it, because even responding, saying that this is the proper way to handle it and that you're being ridiculous, is only fueling them further.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't control what other people do online. And the platforms, they don't enforce things as much as they should. And so these creators know that they're going to continue to be able to create these crazy videos. You just have to withdraw yourself and ignore it. And if it gets to the point of where it's really bad and they're defaming you constantly and violating your copyright, that's what the court system is for. And that's why I'm going to court with this one YouTuber that runs this whole group of craziness. So anyway, another thing I wanted to mention, I've talked about this before, I'll share it again, babe, is a quote from an online entrepreneur that's been on YouTube for a while, and he's been a great public speaker. His name is Gary Vaynerchuk. He goes by Gary V. And I heard him say this in a video like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's stuck ever since. He said, social media isn't changing us, it is exposing us.
Mm-hmm.
Social media isn't changing us, it is exposing us. Because even though a lot of these people that are creating drama content online, and they say that they're performing and it's just, they're a reaction channel, they're a drama channel, and they're just doing it for attention and money. Even if they're saying that, if they're constantly doing it, that's who they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's
No. It's not your turn to talk.
The big dog came up.
He just wanted his 15 seconds.
The little dog is right there.
Yeah.
He wants to go down the escalator. We have an escalator here in our home, folks. We can actually put whatever we want behind us. It's a green screen.
I thought you said we actually had an escalator in our home.
Well, for the people watching on YouTube, and if you're on the audio only podcast, you can go to the description section and halfway down you'll see the link to the video version of this same podcast. there's an escalator that I have in our background today, and it's an escalator that's showing from the top down, because the point of this show is to de-escalate. So, you're not going up the escalator, you're going down, you're de-escalating.
Yeah.
Figuratively speaking, right?
Yeah.
Right. So go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I misheard you. Go on.
Yeah. So anyway, let's start with some deeper questions, babe.
Okay.
And then you'll take your break after that. And then we will get through some Reddit stories that will show how these patterns play out in real life with real people. That's why I love Reddit so much. So the very first question is going to be about framing the core. And let me ask you, babe, what do you see as the real difference between a disagreement and escalation online?
A disagreement ends with a resolution, whether it's agree to disagree or whatnot. When it crosses, it's when the name calling, it's when you go real life on somebody and you start online doxing them or putting information out, and it just doesn't need to go that far. If you disagree with somebody, you talk it out like adults, and if you don't agree, walk away from each other and, say la vie.
Right. So basically, a disagreement, I feel the same way as my lady Dawn feels. Ouch. Basically, you can go on a live stream panel with someone on YouTube and say, hey, I disagree with what you said, but hey, you're entitled to your opinion, and I respect your opinion. I just disagree. We're still friends at the end of the day. That's the mature, proper way to handle it.
Yeah.
Some people, they, if you don't agree with them, they get extremely triggered. They start calling you names. And at that point, they may start to escalate by, then going to their channel and other channels and spreading lies about you. Or if it's Reddit or wherever else, they'll start spreading lies about you all over the internet, and they'll keep on escalating, until they get their way with you. Some people are like that for many reasons. One, they want to make content off of you and make money off your name and likeness. And number two, they're going through something. They are unhappy within themselves. They're miserable. And they see how happy you are, and they're trying to kick you down to their level so they can feel better about themselves. So, yeah, and that's my opinion of, the difference between a disagreement and escalation online. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, that was all.
Okay. Question number 2, this is about emotional payoff. Babe, what do you think people get emotionally from escalating instead of calming things down? That's a great question.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with how they feel about themselves. A lot of times you are, projecting
your insecurities.
Your own insecurities on somebody else. Mm-hmm. If, for instance, you cheated on your spouse, you're going to push that more on somebody else and make them look like they are the worst person in the world for doing that, even though they've had that past themselves. And that's the problem. It's like, you want to go tit for tat. Let's go tit for tat, but we're going to be here all day, all night, all year, our whole lives, It's not worth it.
Yeah, well said. My thoughts, what I think people get emotionally from escalating instead of calming things down. Well, they get more temporary attention on the internet, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Reddit, whether it's Facebook, regardless of where it's at. YouTube, I use YouTube a lot because that's where I spend most of my time at. We're YouTubers as well as podcasters. And we're on Facebook as well, and Twitter and all the rest, Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. I hate calling it X. It's always going to be Twitter to me. But, when you escalate stuff, you get more attention.
Mm-hmm.
You get more attention very quickly, but it's short-lived attention unless you continue to escalate.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. People want attention, so they know the quickest way they can get attention when there's tons of people online competing for the same space, right? They'll escalate, amp things up, and then they'll go and do a regular piece of content after that, and it gets no attention. So then they're like, okay, let me, amp things up again. Then that attention comes back. Then at that point, they're like, I got to keep amping this up to keep the audience coming back. And I think that is what's happening, right? At the same time, people that operate like that, in my opinion, continue to operate in that way because they were already struggling internally with how they see themselves and feel about themselves before they started creating. Like any normal person that's emotionally healthy and for the most part normal. Nobody's perfect, right? But there are people that are struggling emotionally and dealing with depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. And then there are other people like myself. I consider myself to be emotionally healthy. Like, I'm not going to continue to do a drama cycle. I'm here to create real content. But the other people are already in that heightened emotional state of depression, anxiety, self-isolation. A lot of people that lack self-love and self-respect, they isolate themselves at home. They don't go out. They might go to work or they work from home. And then they turn to the internet as their form of socialization. And so I think that is what people get from escalating instead of calming things down, what they get emotionally from escalating instead of calming things down. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add to that?
No.
Okay, question 3, identity and ego. Babe, why do some people experience disagreement as a personal attack?
I think that's natural for everybody, is to take things personally, right? You feel the same way?
Before I realized what that question really meant, I would agree with you. Now that I've matured and learned to understand things better at age 52, I don't look at disagreement as a personal attack. I look at it as someone has their own opinion of the same thing and it's different than my opinion.
Yes.
Who am I to tell them how to feel about things? Who are they to tell me how I feel about things?
Exactly.
We all have our own opinions and we're not always going to agree. And in fact, most of the time we're going to disagree. And if we all agreed on everything, then
we'd have no content.
The world would be a boring place and there'd be no reason to make any content, right?
Yeah.
Right. There'd be no substance to the entire world, in my opinion, right?
Boring.
It'd be boring, right?
Yeah.
We'd have no dramas on TV, no Law and Order.
Oh gosh.
No SVU, no Boston Blue. Is that coming back? Oh,
not till the end of February.
End of February, yeah, that's right. They're on hiatus still. Anything else you want to add to identity and ego?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, question 4, the audience effect. Babe, how does having an audience change people's behavior online? I think I already went through that, but go ahead. That's a good one.
Well, obviously, the more of an audience, the more things are going to be exaggerated and made, more chaotic because that's what they want.
It draws people in.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. If there is no, like we said, no drama, then why watch it? It's like watching somebody play golf, with no sound. It's very pointless. But it's so touchy. It's like, yeah, I get what you're saying with that and what I said. So I think that's a good thing. Like, we both see where we're coming from, and I could say what you said is fair. And see, we first didn't agree. And then listening to him and listening to me, we could say, okay, well, great. Now we know how each other feels, and then we move on. Next question.
And there are certain serious things that you may understand better than I do initially, and I may understand certain serious things better than you do initially. And I think, even if we have a difference of opinion on something serious, I think talking it out and each side giving more context, allows us both to come to a better conclusion.
Well, it allows us both to understand where each other's coming from.
Correct. That
not making an assumption and just running with that.
No, correct. Especially when it involves other people being accused of something. Like, we've had a situation online. We're not going to get into too many details here, but someone was being accused that I've known for a while of being a predator. Let's just call it that. We're not going to say the actual thing they were called. And I knew that wasn't true. And I've known about the situation for years, and it got rehashed recently. I went to bat for this person because I know he's right. But even my lady Dawn initially, wasn't buying it, and same with many other people online. And then, I did some more research. It was regarding 3 videos on YouTube. I ran them through a transcript program, ran it through ChatGPT, and clearly sat down with Dawn and showed her. I said, look, I'm not trying to convince you or sway your opinion. All I'm trying to do is exonerate a man online that's being attacked for no reason, just like you've been attacked for no reason.
Yeah.
See, when it involves a third party and they're being accused of something that is a crime, right? And there's no crime, and they're just staying silent because they're trying to stay out of drama, then I feel someone like our group needs to step in and correct the record and protect that person's good name. And after I showed you all the information and you saw it, I'm not saying you fully agree with my assessment, but you have a better understanding of it, right?
I understand where you're coming from. That's what it is I understood your point behind it.
Yeah.
But I also did give you some key points that supported what myself and other people were saying online.
Correct.
What I was trying to get across to you, whether or not it was done or it was intentional or whatever.
That's how it came off.
It's how it came off.
How you perceived it.
Yes.
That's why I went live to correct the record, because a lot of people were perceiving it the wrong way. And that can absolutely harm someone's reputation online, someone that's trying to create something great for themselves. And so...
especially that accusation.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've been accused of many things online. That's why, I'm in court, as the plaintiff. At some point you can go back and forth, you can keep trying to correct the record, but if, people are still continuing to throw out the same false accusations of you and it's preventing you from growing, you got to go to court. That's the only thing that's going to stop that. Because a lot of these people, they're acting out here on YouTube to keep the audience around and to keep making drama donations and stuff like that. But that same act's not going to work in court, right? They can keep playing the act here as long as they want. But in court, if they start to pull that act, the judge is going to read right through it.
Yeah.
So, that is that. Anything else, babe?
No.
All right. Question 5, platform incentives. This is very interesting here. Why do social media platforms accidentally reward escalation, babe?
I think that it goes back to just drama, and people like to see that escalation occur. I always go back to my television, my reality shows, and how they will,
they'll suck you in.
Well, they suck you in, but it's like the people on there, they start like nagging at each other, shooting comments this way, that way. Mm-hmm. Dirty looks, and it's leading you all up to the very end when these two people explode on each other. And that's kind of the same feeling on YouTube. Is like you're getting this information and this person's doing one thing and that person's doing one thing. It's all going to just come to a head and just be, just be over, I hope.
Right. Well, you remember last year, I think it was maybe towards the end of the previous year, we've been watching Chris Cuomo on News Nation for over a year now. And last year in 2025, Chris Cuomo started, talking about the phrase outrage. And when he started to explain, this is what gets the most attention on the internet, including YouTube, and Cuomo's on YouTube. I got to tell you, Cuomo's great on YouTube.
He is hysterical on YouTube.
Oh, he can be raw and unfiltered on YouTube. On News Nation, he has flexibility because the management loves him, the owners love him, because he's the one that basically
Didn't he drop an F-bomb one time on News Nation?
He did. And I think at that time at night, I think the FCC is not as lenient anymore about dropping the F-bomb, even on cable TV.
Yeah.
I mean, if this was like in the 90s or 80s, then they would have been fined. But
yeah,
this is 2026, and everyone's saying the F-bomb every second word on YouTube, and it's like, okay, we're just going to adapt this in the mainstream media world, in the real cable and satellite world as well, and network TV, ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. Go ahead.
It would just sound unnatural if every other word wasn't "fucking this world" right now.
Well, yeah, I see your point there, but Chris Cuomo would say the algorithms reward outrage. So the thing is, when you create outrage, people drop everything and tune in. They could be on their way to a doctor's appointment. They get a notification on their phone as they're walking in, and then they click to watch that video on the way in from their smartphone. So the platforms know that outrage sells. It keeps people around. They watch more, ads. Now, if people pay for, YouTube, like we pay for no ads on everything, including YouTube. We have all the premium. Even though it's twice the cost, it basically cuts your viewing time in half and saves you time.
Yeah,
to do
it
other
does.
Things, right? The amount of time you
get through more shows.
You get through more shows, and you can get to bed sooner, and then take that extra time and invest it back into working and making more money than paying an extra $5 or $7 a month to have no ads on your streaming services. It's totally worth it, right? But I mean, they want to keep people around longer, either continuing to pay the premium subscription fee, or if you're not paying for it, like on YouTube, you can watch for free with ads. You're going to be watching more ads, more money for YouTube, more money for the creator if they're monetized. If they're not monetized, YouTube now puts ads on everyone's channel, even if you're not monetized. Then they get 100% of the revenue.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the platforms do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's causing all the issues. But let's say we took the entire drama market off of YouTube, for example. I think they'd be out of business.
Yeah, they'll be down to cat videos, and that's not going to do it.
I mean, without the outrage and all that stuff, you're looking at they would probably lose more than half their viewership, and more than half their ad revenue would be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have super chats and all that on the live streams, or super thanks on the replays, live stream replays and pre-recorded videos. You can donate through the system. They would lose a lot of revenue. So it's become this balance of what do we enforce through our terms of service and what do we let go? Because if we enforce everything, we're out of business. Right? If we enforce nothing, then it gets overly chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just something that, as a creator, you have to understand. And if you're going to create normal, regular content like we do, understand there are going to be people that are going to try to involve you in their drama. You just have to either not engage with it, or if you're going to engage, do it the proper way. Are you okay? Hold on a second. All right, give me a second. Dawn's going to step away for a second. All right. All right, so I'm going to keep this rolling for right now. And I think Dawn just needed to get her inhaler. Now, we usually would do a show like this live. So if we were live right now, I mean, this stuff would happen. So anyway, while Dawn gets her, and I'm looking at her through the camera, so she's okay. While she gets her asthma inhaler and takes care of, what's going on, I want to remind all of you that are watching us on the audio-only podcast networks such as Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, my lady's favorite, iHeartRadio. We're also on Amazon's Audible. We're also on YouTube's Music, and we're also on the rest of the unknown, not as popular audio-only podcast networks. If you're watching us on the audio-only podcast network, you can go in the description section about halfway down, and you'll see the link to the video version of our podcast, which is hosted on our main YouTube channel, GNA, Genuine Personal Development. You can go over there, subscribe, bang the bell, and select all notifications so you don't miss anything. And then go below that description section of that video, and a couple lines down, you'll see the link to our secondary live streaming channel, GNA2, Genuine Live Personal Development. Make sure you subscribe, bang the bell, and select all notifications so you don't miss anything. We do live streaming there. I typically will go live, if not every day, almost every day. Sometimes I'll take a few days off, like I have lately, because I've had a little bit of the stomach flu, and man, if you've had the stomach flu, I think we all have, you know how that feels. I do walking with purpose streams pretty regularly. Sometimes we do driving with purpose streams. Sometimes we do live streams from the studio. There's a whole lot going on constantly on GNA2. And it looks like, Don, you coming back? No,
No, I just started.
Of course not. Was it the asthma attack?
No, it was. I had a mint, and I just swallowed the mint, and then I took a drink, and it kind of went down the wrong way. Fluid got caught.
Oh, it went down the wrong tube, and it just happened to be while we were recording. But we're not going to edit this out.
No, it's not that big of a deal.
Can we go back on camera?
You can go back on camera.
Okay.
I do apologize for that interruption.
It's okay.
I just took a sip. It went down the wrong way, and I couldn't. Okay. I didn't want to cough in here online.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But I am okay, guys.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's continue where we left off here. Okay, so we were talking about platform incentives and, outrage spreads faster, and the algorithm rewards intensity, not accuracy or calm. People can basically just go crazy for whatever reason. And as long as they don't violate the terms of service, or at least get away with violating the terms of service, then they get a lot more attention, more donations, super chats, etc. PayPal, Cash Apps. You know the drill goes, right?
Yeah.
All right. Number 6, babe. Rumination and obsession. Let me ask you, what's happening psychologically when someone just can't let something go? Now, you've been there, and so have I individually. You can talk from personal experience on that, huh?
Oh, gosh, yeah. I mean, let's just talk about me, for instance, because that's really the only person I can speak on. I had a lot of resentment and hate for my ex-husband. Now, I didn't do anything to attack him. I didn't spread rumors. I didn't lie. It just was, it was pain. It was anger. And I didn't realize that until probably about 2 years ago in therapy. And I just had to stop And I had to like, I don't know, just take a break, take a breath, and just think about it and just say, are you really angry? Like, what is really the issue? And we came to the conclusion of what it was. And I can honestly say I don't hate my ex-husband. I really don't. But that's a situation.
You were holding on to resentment.
I was holding on to resentment.
Right.
I was holding on to anger, pain, just abandonment, all of that stuff. And so I couldn't let those things go because those things have been traumas to me for so long that I just thought he was going to be my savior from all this crap.
Yeah, and you were constantly playing that in your head all the time.
Yeah.
Which is what rumination is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's emotional looping. You're playing that loop over and over again, trying to self-soothe, and all it's doing is it's triggering you more.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, sorry, what is the other word that they were comparing it to?
Emotional looping.
Okay. Kind of the same, like, thing in the first word. Yes, you're constantly in this circle.
It's a loop, yeah.
That just, there's nothing that person could do that would take you out of that loop for a while.
Take yourself out of that loop.
You got to step out of the loop.
Right.
You've got to realize,
right.
Okay, what did they do that hurt you so bad? And then you address that. Mm-hmm. And you realize that there are always two people in a conflict. It's not just one.
Yeah. So online, people have been coming at us for years, and even longer before you met me, they've been coming at me, led by the same guy that I'm finally suing in a circuit civil case. So this is something that he has not been able to psychologically let go. He's being forced to let go right now because he's in court.
Yeah.
He has de-escalated, and that's because I've taken a lot of legal action to get it to this point.
Well, yeah, and I just think at this point, there's really nothing else to say to each other.
Well, they could repeat the whole thing, and that audience would come around. But
I don't even think the audience wants to hear it anymore.
You're probably right, but here's the thing.
Because the audience is now starting to pick at each other.
Right, but let me finish. I was getting to a point. This is called sunk cost thinking, meaning that I've invested too much to stop now. For the guy that's been doing this to me for 6+ years on YouTube, using my name and likeness as his content, selling it to his audience of my haters, right? He got so deep into it, and it kept on paying off every single time. So he's thinking, how can I let this go? Why stop? I've invested too much into it now to stop. That's a great example there. You gave a great example of, holding on to resentment. That's another great example of why psychologically someone can't just let something go. And it's worse on social media because we're going to talk more about it as we get further in the show, but it's worse on social media because people feel a lot safer on social media because they're not in person.
Yeah,
they feel like they can talk all the smack they want, right? But would they do that same thing if they were right in front of our face in the real world?
No.
If we were at a restaurant and they saw us at a restaurant, would they come up to us and just smack us or punch us? No.
Or heckle us? No.
No, they wouldn't do that.
No, none of these people legitimately have the balls to walk up to each other.
No, I'm not saying that 100% of the people, wouldn't do it. There are a few crazies that would, take it real life and actually, do some physical violence and stuff like that. But most people would not. Most people are just acting. And
that's the thing. They think that they are protected by being on the keyboard, and they can say anything that they want and get all of their frustrations, their traumas. They were bullied in school, so now they have to be.
Or there's other childhood trauma stemming from their childhood their parents, their upbringing, right?
Well, yeah, if there's neglect or abuse in that, that
Correct, right?
absolutely factors in.
Or they see things that they shouldn't have
Okay, that's
seen,
not
and
necessary.
we're not going to go in there. We're not going
That
to.
I knew you were going to do that. It's not
I know that. I
necessary.
understand that. Go
Okay.
ahead.
No, it could be anything
Yeah.
that will strike that trauma. And if somebody
Right.
knows that, oh, they eat that up. Oh, they eat that info up. Or
Yep.
you know what they do? They put it in their back pocket until they need to use it.
You're right. Let's continue. Question 7, control versus responsibility. Why do escalators often try to control others instead of regulating themselves? That's a great question.
Because like I'll go back to the fact that they don't have the guts to stand up for themselves and recognize their own issues. You know, they just want to go out there
Right.
and quote unquote, put these people's issues out. So, maybe they can get some help, or maybe we could raise some money because so and so is not doing well. It's like with ODN's stream this morning, it really showed me that none of these people are true friends. They jump, or how I explained it in the beginning it was like you were on a racetrack, and it was a relay where you go a quarter of a mile or so and then you pass the baton to somebody else. Well, a lot of that is going on because somebody will have all the dirt, and then we'll get tired of them.
Right.
So then they feed that dirt to somebody who's now going to use it. Try to incite other people to what's going on, so they pull a whole nother audience in. So, because there are people right now being talked about that have absolutely nothing to do with Eli and the defendant in this case,
Yeah. No. When you create as much content as we do and as I do, even as an individual, and a lot of people are following you, and you have an audience of haters that other drama creators can leverage. Even if you're not talking about them or giving them anything new, they need to insert you or inject you even into other people's drama that you're not involved in. So, for example, we have moderators here on our channels and people that follow us, and they run their own channels. And so, when they're doing some things, sometimes these other creators that are creating the hate content will try to blame me for the behavior and actions that other moderators on our channels here are doing that have nothing to do with us. Right? I'm not the YouTube police. I'm not their content speech manager or anything like that. I'm not. They're moderators. They're supporters here. They have their opinion. They're an independent person. But a lot of people, when they need to target someone as their content, they'll try to loop you back in, even through a third party, when you have nothing to do with the situation, because they need that as the survival of their channel, to feed that to their audience. Controlling others instead of regulating themselves. A lot of people that are lacking self-love, self-respect, that are traumatized, that are going through depression and stuff, that are not feeling important deep within. When they are able to control others, it gives them a sense of dominance, and it makes them feel important. It makes them feel like they're in control when they're really not. It's a false sense of feeling like you're in control of your life, because you're not in control of your life. You're in control of other people that are too vulnerable, at least at this point, to realize you're controlling them.
Mm-hmm.
right? And then once they figure it out, then they end up leaving because they realize this is garbage. This guy is not who I thought he was, right? Or this lady is not who I thought they were. They were just playing us, right? So, and right here, coercion feels easier than accountability. So, it's much easier to go out there and try to control people by making, even empty threats, just trying to sound like, hey, you know what, if you don't stop doing this, then I'm going to expose this about you. Like, how many times have we heard that?
Expose this.
Right. Over the years. And Pedro Santiago, Mr. Bet on You, he put out a video right before we started recording this. I guess apparently somebody was talking smack about him, and it was somebody that had, I guess, recorded a private conversation with him in the past or something, and that they're threatening to release it now. And Pedro's like, just release it.
Yeah.
I mean, everything I've said and done, I have no shame, and it's all above board and stuff, right? And so, it's much easier to get attention, at least temporarily, by saying, I'm going to expose that Eli or that Pedro or that Don, right? And if you don't apologize for something you didn't do because one of your moderators is misbehaving on their channel, then I'm going to expose all the lies about your girlfriend, Dawn, and I'm going to go live every day or premiere videos every day. And it's like,
yeah, it's like if you don't,
that's coercion.
If you don't do what I'm telling you to do, this is what I'm putting out there. I'm gonna hurt you through your family, or hurt you through loved ones, friends,
right?
Anybody.
That's when you come back, like, you're stronger now. High five.
Stronger
you had
than yesterday.
Yeah, you used to have a drinking problem. You got cleaned up over a year ago. I was really building up the fact that you got yourself cleaned up because you took some time away from YouTube, and everyone was talking shit on that drama side of things of YouTube. And then when you came back and they saw you, and like, wow, what a world of difference, right? And now you know what's going on. Now, between getting yourself sober and being put on the right medication, even for anxiety, depression, all that stuff, you're so regulated, and you're just, I'm so proud of you. Like, that all they're trying to do is get a reaction, right? And if we come back and say, hey, look, just put it out there. Because it's already been put out 6,000 times.
Yeah.
Over the last 4 years, right? You're playing the same song over and over again, figuratively speaking, right?
And yeah, and I know this last time we said, go ahead and prove it. And they did. They proved what I had said. And I said last week, you know what? You called the bluff, and good for you because you found what you needed. And, I guess I did say it, but I know that I was not in my right mind at the time. And then being questioned about the number that I gave as far as being 5. Now that's going to be 5 outside of the 4 relationships I've had. So don't get your shit up in a bundle,
and you don't have to really get into that.
And who cares?
There's I mean, you gave a lot more than I thought you would here. I appreciate that, babe, but you don't even have to get into that detail that far. But the point of the matter is that a lot of these people work through coercion. They work through fake threats to get what they want as their YouTube content. Are they really like that in the real world? If I had to guess, most of them not. Maybe some of them are. But people that operate like that, even on YouTube, are, for the most part, struggling internally.
They tend to have the same characteristics that they're portraying on YouTube. And so I don't think in the real world that these people are really pulling it off, that they're just normal, sane people. I really don't think that if somebody saw a particular person I'm talking about rolling through Walmart, I don't think anybody would say she was normal. Just my point, my opinion.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. A lot of people will make empty threats just to get what they want or to feel dominant in front of their audience to keep them coming
I
back.
I just think this one is the type that would go into Walmart and cause a scene. Cause a scene about whatever she could. There was, I don't know, a paper towel on the floor, and she'd figure out a way to make them responsible.
Sure.
So, that's what I'm saying, is that there are those types of people, and there are a lot of them on YouTube.
There are a lot of them on the internet everywhere, but YouTube is a place where they're primarily at because it's the largest and best video platform on the planet. And that's just the way it goes. When you're the best, people are going to come to the best for a bunch of different things, different reasons. But let's go to question 8 here. Boundary reactions. Let me ask you, babe, why do calm boundaries sometimes make things worse instead of better?
Like, what do you mean by calm boundaries?
So approaching it the proper, cool, calm, and collected way, why does that make things worse instead of better?
I think sometimes that aggravates the other person because they're not getting to you. That's the major thing, is if they can't upset you and get you fired up, then that's the oxygen that we just sucked out of their mouth, and they can't say anything else.
Right. Basically, if you're on a drama channel, the fuel of your drama channel is constant outrage. If you try to come off reasonable and, let's say someone you're attacking comes to you and says, hey, let's set some boundaries here. Come on, let's just cut this out. You've already done what you need to do. Let's just be reasonable, right?
Yeah, it's like, you've done this, I've done this. Let's just squash it and move on.
I've done that. I've tried that. I've tried that approach with drama channels before. And, what they're saying is, what they've said to me is, F you, I can talk about you whenever I want, however I want. Okay, just don't lie about me and don't defame me, and you're good, right? And so, when you're dealing with these types of people, they've made their mind up already. Their mind's already been set. And for many of them, it's out of control or out of their control because they're already probably emotionally unstable, or they're dealing with trauma and they're dealing with insecurities. And they just don't want to be told what to do. They're in that mindset to where if you even tell them something reasonable for the right reasons, and if it's not what they want to hear, that'll make them snap. So, a lot of times, if, these people can't de-escalate and they're affecting you by defaming you or violating your copyright or whatever, unfortunately, your only avenue at that point is to take them to court. That's it. Or just leave the internet, which, do you really want to do that? That's where everyone's at. That's where the future is at. The now and the future is at. So, and that's
the other thing. I don't know why these people are going to risk their channels and risk their ability to be on the internet, and because they do shut channels down. They do, take away things that they can no longer do.
Though, babe, the thing is, a lot of these people should never be welcomed back on YouTube. A lot of them are circumventing, and YouTube brings them back, and not only brings them back, but remonetizes them. Like, YouTube's not even upholding their own rules. And that's hypocrisy that allows people like this to continue to say, F you, if we get shut down, we're going to keep coming back. You'll never get rid of us. It's like, we're not trying to get rid of you.
We're just trying to get you to stop what you're doing.
We're trying to get you to stop defaming us and violating our copyright. Hey, you want to talk about us in a normal way all you want, no problem, right?
Yeah.
But, we're just trying to get people to stop using us as the product of their channel. Like, I've become the product of certain people's channel, meaning that it's all about my name and likeness. Even when something doesn't involve me, they have to get me involved in some way through a third party and then try to blame me for something through that third party when I've done nothing. Right? But that's what happens when some people make you, the product of their channel.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So let's see. Question number 9, the real life shift. What changes when someone decides to take an online conflict into real life? That's happened to us. We've had a wellness check call happen here. And we had a second one that happened at your parents' place on vacation. So we've dealt with the real life stuff. So what happens, what changes, babe, when someone decides to take an online conflict into real life?
At that point, it's game on. That's how I feel. If you want to go that route and go real life, it's game on. I've got to put, the defense up on the line now, and that's what we're going to do.
I want to ask you to be a little more clear, because when you say it's game on, it almost sounds like you're saying fight fire with fire. That's not what you're saying, right?
No, it's not what I'm saying. With game on,
Okay.
Remember, you could play the game however you want. And you could almost psychologically mess with people.
So what you're saying is, if somebody makes a false wellness check, we can choose to not react to it. We can choose to react to it and say, wow, false wellness check was made at our home. And I did talk about both those false wellness checks that were made back in the days, years ago. But it more so depends on, are we showing that it affects us, or are we just saying, hey, look at these people going real life at us. They have no other content. And we can almost laugh at it. Is it serious? Yes. And it is serious.
They crossed the line.
Yeah.
Sending them to my parents' house.
Absolutely.
That was the moment that I was like, bullshit. It's on, because I automatically wanted to come back and defend myself, defend Eli and my parents, and yeah, that was the initial feeling. But as time went on, I learned how to play the game.
Yeah, and I remember, somebody in the audience, not even one of the creators, said that they made that call. I think that's BS. I think I'm not gonna say who I think actually made that call. I think it was one of the creators that made that second call to your parents' place, and I tried to get the information from Mariposa County, where your parents are at, and they wouldn't give it to me. They said protected information because it involved, I guess, you had seizures. You had a seizure, and then after that, you were laying down. And let's not repeat what you said. We don't need to repeat that on the show here. It was very faintly said, and somebody took it literally, and I guess they called, or they found a reason to call.
And you know what I said isn't anything that anybody else wouldn't have said in that situation, because the fear you have, you don't know what's going to happen then. So yeah, fear's going to come out. That's coming out over your regular, cognitive mind. That's that fight or flight situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And here's the thing. Regarding what you said, I'm not going to say it exactly. You said you feel like something's not right. How does that warrant a wellness check? That
it doesn't.
That if anything, that would warrant a medical emergency where we would call 911.
Yeah, and you know what? Truly, I feel if somebody was really concerned, you all know how to reach out.
You have my number,
Eli.
and everybody, we're public figures. You have our numbers.
Yeah, all you had to do was instantly be like, is she okay? And he would have said yes.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there was a lady, that was trying to take responsibility for making that call. I don't think it was any audience member. I think it was one of the main players, in that drama group. I'm not going to say who it is, but they're lucky that I wasn't able to get the actual call. I tried to get it, and
Did we ask my mom and dad to try to get it? Because maybe with them being the homeowners.
No, they didn't give it because it was over a medical situation. It was their excuse. I guess it's because it involved, your seizure that you had that day. They consider it private medical.
It is. It is private.
Yeah, it's a private instance, so that's probably why I was able to get the one that happened here, but that was not over anything medical. That was over something.
A fight we had in the car 3 months prior.
No. We didn't fight in the car.
No, but I had an episode.
You had
in
an
the
episode
car.
Because back in those days, let's be real and clear the record here, okay? You were drinking back then. You were heightened with your emotions over your family, your daughter, and all that, and every little thing was bothering you. I did nothing wrong, but you were very hypersensitive, and plus we hadn't got you on the right medication yet, right? I'm not trying to deflect responsibility, but please, honestly, I'm a good person, and I don't want people to ever think that I was trying to hurt you. We were on the way to the Jason Aldean concert.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to show our fans along the way, driving to Shoreline Amphitheater. And then once you got past your moment, we had a great time.
Yeah.
We showed them that, right? You had a moment. And your moment really didn't have anything to do with me for the most part.
Yeah, no, I don't exactly remember how it went down, what, got me going on that. But I just feel that anybody who needs to know those things are the important people in your life.
Right.
You call your friends, you call your parents, whatever.
Right.
All of this stuff does not need to be out there on YouTube. And that is why, not for the Jason Aldean concert, but for my mother's and father's home incident, I was angry at Eli for having YouTube up, and I've gotten over it. But at first I was angry. I was like, I'm having a seizure and he's doing a show. Like, what the hell?
Whoever called didn't call because they care. They called because they wanted to make content out of it. That's the bottom line. And it doesn't matter. These people, they don't care about us to even make a call like that in a serious way. They do it for content.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if they say anything otherwise, right? But anyway, let's continue because, I think we explained that one quite well. And then you people in our audience are going to be like, oh, wow, man, you folks have been through a lot. Yeah, that's why we're doing this topic. Let's see. Question number 10. And then you're going to take a break after that? Okay. Question number 10. Healthy alternative. What does real de-escalation actually look like in practice, babe? What would be real de-escalation?
Walking away, taking yourself out of the situation. That's the best way to avoid any escalation.
Taking the high road?
Well, I mean, you just got to realize, is it worth it?
No.
Is it a fight you really want to start? No. So it's like sometimes you do have to take the high road and just walk away. Just like our good friend, Charlie Sheen.
Yeah. Yeah, he redeemed himself towards me in his documentary. I mean, man, mad respect to Charlie. And Feldman, I have no respect for Feldman at all now. He tried to exploit Charlie Sheen regarding something that he never did by creating that documentary. And Feldman made his own documentary on his own. He sold it on a private server that had minimal bandwidth, and it was just crashing, and it was just all over the place. I don't know if it's now even on streaming. I haven't seen it anywhere, but Charlie Sheen's documentary, what was it? Was it on HBO Max, I think, or something like that?
Yeah, I believe it was
I think
Max.
it was HBO Max, and
they're the ones that have the best
they had
documentaries.
HBO Max has the absolute best documentaries. I mean, HBO has been making documentaries for since the 80s.
They could make a documentary on the dictionary, and it would be like
HBO's been doing this for well over 40, probably almost 50 years. Like, if I just type this in, how long has HBO been around? Over 53 years. Launched on November 8th, 1972. As the first cable television service to transmit via satellite. Right? And
we weren't even born.
Well, I was born the very next year in 73. I was born about 13 months after that. Yeah. So they've been around for 53 years, and they're the absolute HBO. Now HBO Max is their streaming service, but they also have a lot of other. Now they've joined forces with other companies, so they have a lot of the the Warner Brothers Discovery stuff. They do all the Discovery ID and all that on HBO Max.
And they also have like all the cooking shows. They have like Food Network on there.
Yeah. Those are all, I think they're all part of the Discovery Network, Food Network, Discovery ID, Investigative Discovery, all that whole lineup of channels. So, de-escalation, what does it look like in practice? It's basically just walking away. It's choosing when to talk and when to shut your mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, look, everyone is going to feel the need to defend themselves at times. I'm not here to say there's something wrong with that. As a matter of fact, if you don't do it, from what I've learned, and people are defaming you, then your defamation becomes what other people that are new see and really think actually happened, right?
Yeah.
And so you've got to correct the record at times, and you got to do it in a cool, calm, and collected way, and you can't do it in an overly reactive way because they're just going to keep using that as content on you. It's going to create a back and forth, and that's what you want to avoid. Pause, distance, self-regulation, disengage, document in case it escalates and you need to go to court. I have everything documented. I sent one of our friends behind the scenes, and I won't mention who it was. I sent them some screenshots. I heard them talking about some instances that happened years ago, and I said, I've got those screenshots. I got everything. I'll just email it to you. And I emailed it to them, and they got back to me and said, thank you. So documenting is important. Whether you're going to ever sue someone or not, you never know. You document something, it's evidence. And even if it's beyond the statute of limitations, you can always use past evidence outside of the statute of limitations to show a pattern, as long as you have enough within the statute of limitations. Protect peace and stay purpose-driven. Yeah. So that's that. We are at 1 hour and 13 minutes. You want to take a quick break, and then I think we're going to get through 2 or 3 Reddit postings. We had 6, but we're not going to get through all of them. The first part of the show was pretty good, and we got through a lot of it. We went through it a lot more deeply than I thought we would. So anyway, all right, so let me turn off the camera. Dawn's going to step away for her restroom break. So while Dawn's on her break, let me remind everyone once again, and I repeat this because we really want to try to get as many people on the YouTube end of things as possible. That's where we focus most of our time. We do the podcast once per week, and you can even watch the video version of our podcast on YouTube. So if you're listening to us on the audio-only podcast network, we're on Apple, Spotify, Amazon's Music. We're on my lady's favorite, iHeartRadio. We're on Amazon's Audible. We're also on YouTube's Music, and we're also on many of the other not as well known, not as popular audio-only podcast networks. Basically, if you're listening to us audio-only anywhere, go below the description section of wherever you're listening to us audio-only. About halfway down, you will see the link to the video version of this same exact podcast. It's the same thing as you're hearing audio only. It just has video along with the audio. In fact, we ripped the audio from the video recording to upload to the podcast server. When you click the link, it'll redirect you back to our main channel, GNA, Genuine Personal Development. Make sure you subscribe, bang the bell, and select all notifications once you get there. And then go below that description section, a couple lines down, you'll see the link to our secondary live streaming channel. And this is where you'll catch us live, if not every day, almost every day. There's a lot more content happening regularly on GNA2, Genuine Live Personal Development. So when you go to that link, a couple lines down below from the podcast episode on the main channel, click that link. It'll redirect you to GNA2, Genuine Live Personal Development. Subscribe over there, bang the bell, and select the notifications so that way you don't miss anything there. And then you will be, you will be as connected with us as possible. I'm still working on revamping the GNA website. There's going to be a bunch of stuff that we're going to be rolling out between the rest of this year in 2026 and in 2027. Right now we're still in a building stage. We have not been able to build as easily because of all this drama surrounding us that's been out of our control on YouTube. And that's one of the main reasons why we're in court. We have not been able to reasonably run the Genuine Networking Association and our content out here to grow based on what's been happening. So things are starting to turn around, and we're happy about that. But just know it's still going to probably take us, before everything is fully in place, the website is redone, and some other aspects between the rest of 2026 and then into 2027. Dawn is back?
Yes.
Dawn is back. Should we turn on the camera, baby?
Let's go.
All right. So we're only going to go through 3 of these Reddit postings here. We are at 1 hour and 17 minutes. So, babe, let's now look at some real world examples that show how these dynamics play out.
Okay.
So let us go. And I got to make sure that we are there. Yeah, there we are. Let me make sure that we are, yep. All right, this first Reddit posting is from the subreddit r/casual conversation. And the original poster's title is, "Why does everyone argue so much on the internet compared to real life?" It's a great topic, like heading. They write, "It is interesting to me how almost every comment section will have some people fighting or arguing with each other, regardless of how mundane or non-controversial the topic is. This seems to be happening to a way lesser extent in real life, but on the internet, people seem to always find a way to fight or argue to the extent that it almost seems to be a subconscious urge for some people they can't fulfill in real life. I am by no means a psychologist or would claim to know why this is the case, but it does seem interesting to me." What are your thoughts? You know what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
It's people projecting their
yeah,
insecurities.
I'm just trying to think of a different way to say that.
They're fueling the outrage that's probably being stimulated by drama creators.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that are commenting on any posting on Reddit or any pre-recorded video on YouTube or chatting in a YouTube live stream, they're reacting to the emotions of what's happening on the screen. That's all it is.
Yes.
It's a reaction to the type of content they're being presented. They've said or done something in a posting or in a video that has emotionally outraged the audience. They do it because that gets everyone to feel like they must respond. They get more comment engagement, and then it tells the YouTube algorithm that this is a hot topic, and then they get ramped up in the algorithm. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Did you want to add something to that?
No, I was just trying to think of a different way to say exactly that. Like, because we keep saying projection, but
that's what it is.
It is. It just comes down to being projection. Yeah.
Right. Because any normal, decent human being could go. I could go to a drama shit show, and I'd go there, and let's say I'm watching it. I'm not watching it because I want to be a part of drama. I'm watching it because it's fascinating to me how people behave on the internet and what they'll say and do just to make money and get attention. To me, it's more of a behavioral study, like this person was saying, right?
Yeah.
This is what people don't get about me. They think I'm a drama W, and don't say that word, but you know what I'm talking about. They think that I love drama and I live for drama. No. Think of me as more of a behavioral analyst. I'm not a psychologist or anything, but anyone can analyze behavior as their opinion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So think of me as a behavioral analyst going there and just seeing this behavior. And I'm like, if these people behave anything like they do out here on YouTube in the real world, God help us.
Yeah.
God help us, right?
God help them.
God help them too, and us, because you never know. They can go psycho.
Yeah.
Right? Like some of those shows we watch in the middle of the night, that are just playing in the background, with the psycho I-5 killers and stuff like that, right? So yeah, that was pretty interesting. Let me go back to the browser screen here. Let's just check out a couple of comments, okay? F you. No, they don't. Okay, 4 reasons off the top of my head. Emotional content is difficult to convey in text.
Yes.
You know what? I think it's more difficult. I don't think it's impossible, but it's much easier to go live and start whining on camera and a microphone. Right? People aren't good at writing, and as a result, make overbroad, unintentional statements. I disagree. People are only reacting to what they're being presented. That's it. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
Okay. You agree?
Yeah.
Lower risk of consequences, anonymity. That's huge. Lower risk of consequences, anonymity. Right.
Yeah.
People who would not interact in real life are thrown together. IRL. I would not have a conversation about my opinions on the Republican Party with a MAGA hat. But online, they are right there. Right. No,
Right?
I'll give you that one.
Absolutely.
We'll give you that one. Anything else you want to add about that comment?
No, because that just says it all.
Says it all. Let's read one more here. Okay. Your Velcro cat. Angry people specifically come online to argue because they know they won't get seriously confronted the way they would in real life.
Yes.
Yeah, they're keyboard warriors. Right? For example, less punching via the internet. You don't have to make eye contact either. I know you kind of covered it in bullet point 3, but I think the angry people part is important.
Yeah.
And who are they angry at?
Why?
Themselves.
Why?
Well, you have
Where
to
did it come from?
Well, you have to ask, where's the anger stemming from? It's stemming from their own insecurities of unresolved past trauma, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? You agree?
Shit, yeah.
Anything else you want to add to that, my
How
love?
about you, Buster? You agree? I think he does.
Oh, yeah. 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 Okay. So let me see. Which one do I want to go through next here? Oh, this is good. And it's in like a neon green font and color. All right. Let me go back to the browser source here. This next one is from the subreddit r/stupid questions.
Perfect.
No question is a
stupid question.
Is a stupid question, right, baby? Right. The original poster's question is, why do people escalate every situation so quickly these days? Let's see what they wrote. Huh, baby?
Yeah.
Some guy is a prick and tells someone else to move. The person says no or just ignores the prickish guy. So he throws a punch because he was having a bad day. Well,
sucks for him.
That's not a good reason to throw a punch. The only good reason is if you're defending yourself against someone that's coming at you for no reason or any reason, right? A Karen calls someone a name and throws a fit because they're not paying attention. The person finally tells her off, so she tries to scratch the person. A person has an opinion on some fictional character. This opinion angers a toxic fandom. So said fandom dedicates their time to ruining that person's life. Sound familiar?
Oh, yeah.
What the guy I'm suing tried to do is ruin my life and make money off my name and likeness for 6+ years. A guy wins against some other guy at an online game. The guy who lost doxes the winner. God, sound familiar?
Oh my God.
Like
it's so petty and
in
childish.
our community right now, there's like a doxing war going. We're not going to mention names between.
No, because it's not relevant, but it's ridiculous.
It
is
is.
what
There's a doxing war going on between two ladies. One's in her early 40s that we know and we're friends with. The other one is a late 50s lady that is on the opposite end in the drama spectrum. And it's just, oh man, and upset. Keep amping it up, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, the guy who lost doxes the winner and sends a pipe bomb to his mailbox and threatens his kids. That's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. How the fuck have things gotten so far that people go from 0 to 60 so damn fast? We can thank the internet for that.
Yeah, and just everybody's in a hurry. They have so much to do. Internet comes quick.
I'm in a hurry to get things done. Oh, I rush until life's no fun. I can't sing. My voice is getting hoarse now.
Actually, it sounds better like that.
Well, maybe. Yeah. I need to take a break soon. Anyway, let's see. When did we become so petty as a species? When the internet came out. There's your answer. We have grown-ass men and women acting like toddlers. I say that every damn day.
Well, yeah, I've said that from the beginning, is that this seems like 2 7-year-olds, like not getting along, having the crush on the same girl, and just, it's like that. It's just childish behavior. It just doesn't make any sense to me anymore. And maybe that's because I'm 50 and I don't, and
you
my
don't want to
kids
act that way anymore.
No, my kids never acted that way.
Yeah.
I've never in my life, my kids have never, so it's just, frankly, this is all new to me. And
we've all done dumb things when we were young.
Oh, God.
But the thing is, we're at an age right now where we're not doing dumb things, including on the internet for attention and for profit.
Yeah, we couldn't do too much when we were growing up on the internet for profit.
It wasn't as advanced as it is.
Yeah,
right
yeah. I mean, the days and the years, have really progressed what the internet is and
right.
what it is capable of doing.
Right.
So yeah, I just think as time has gone on, it has definitely gotten worse. And yes, keyboard warriors, keyboard cowboys, whatever you want to say.
Keyboard warriors.
Yep. Yeah, they sit there and you know what? All the sadness and anger and everything that's pushed them that day comes out through their fingertips onto the computer.
Right.
And you might not know this other person, but you're just not liking him. You just have whatever. So you attack that person. Like, you go hard because you feel so shitty about yourself.
You got to
and the day you had. What?
You got to de-escalate. Go down
Oh, yeah.
the escalator, right? De-escalate.
Down.
Isn't that cool?
Yes. I was like, what are you doing?
We have an escalator in our house, I said earlier. It's not the green screen that's actually there. That's a real escalator.
Yeah. I mean, we technically could with the 3
when we're
levels.
turning around and we're looking at it, and it's a green felt.
Well, it's like being a meteorologist on the news.
Same thing. They use green screens. That's where that technology came from. So they can basically superimpose you, make you transparent in front of anything behind you.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have to learn where to point. By looking looking at the monitor next to you, because what you're seeing behind you is just green. So you got to look at the monitor, and those guys get good after a while. And I remember there were a couple of times when the Tonight Show with Jay Leno was being taped every day at NBC Studios in Burbank. Now the Tonight Show's back in New York, but they had a tour there. They probably still have it, where they had one of the green screens there, and they were giving people the opportunity to go there and try to be a meteorologist. They used to call them the weatherman, and now we have weather women. They just call them meteorologists, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I actually have been to the tour twice. The first time I did it, I figured it out. The second time I did it again, and I was perfect at it. And they're like, wow, you're really good at this. Like, well, I've been on this tour before, and I figured it out the last time, so I can't lie. Ain't got to lie to kick it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been fascinated with technology and video and green screens and all that for over like 30 years. This was like in my 20s when the Tonight Show with Jay Leno was in full force, and my friends and I would go down to LA, and we'd go watch live tapings of TV shows, and that was one of them. I have a picture of Jay Leno, myself, and my friend Brett somewhere. Former friend Brett, who knows, we might reconnect at some point. I was talking with my brother, and they still hang out. And I think I've talked about my friend Brett publicly.
They hang out all the time.
They hang out all the time, and Brett's going through a divorce, and so it may be time to reconnect. He's not a bad guy. He was always a good friend. Anyway, and I've grown up. Shit, this is 20 plus years later. Anyway, let's go back. Well, first of all, we are at 1 hour and 32 minutes. There we are. Okay. We have grown-ass men and women acting like toddlers. I said that, but that's okay because, just because, ? Why is immature and irrational behavior so normalized? Why? Because it makes these people a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it does.
That's period, end of story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these people don't care looking like goofballs as long as they get paid and they get some attention from other people that are just like them. There are a lot of weird people in this world. Half of them are on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to realize there's an audience for everyone and every type of personality. And that's just the way it goes. Do I agree with this poster? Absolutely. They nailed it.
Yeah.
Like, I would never want to behave that way on the internet, but these people do it simply because it gets them attention. They either want attention, money, or a combination of both.
Yes. Yeah.
Which, in order to make money, you need to get attention. So typically, they either do it for attention or attention and money.
Oh,
or
definitely.
So they either do it for attention or attention for money.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I totally agree.
Okay, let's go through a couple of comments here in the comment section. This person is called, and I think it's a female because it's a purple avatar. Emergency Shift 4029. People have been losing their patience lately. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better. Be careful around people who seem unstable because almost everyone is these days on the internet. Yes.
Well, and you want to talk, people say just on the fly. Oh, that person has mental illness, or that person has mental illness. Everybody is using mental illness as a crutch right now. You know, it's like, just get over it. You know, yes, I have some mental health issues and I am working through it. And that's all I'm telling you guys to do, is just work through it.
Right.
And
right.
your life will be much happier.
Yeah. One can only hope things turn around, but until the platforms start enforcing things differently and not favoring outrage, it's never going to change.
Yeah.
Heavy Surag. I don't know what that means. Or heavy sour OG. Oh, heavy sour OG. Okay. People are being pitted against each other on a global level. That's because it's something you can sell to an audience. It's a performance. It's drama. Right?
Yeah.
It is being funded.
We just said that.
We just said that. Absolutely. They're pushing true and false info to keep people constantly in a bad mood and divided. Because the moment we come together, they're out of business. Their narrative is done. No more money, right? Okay. Some people realize it and stay away to keep their energy high, and some fall into the trap arguing about dumb shit.
Dumb
shit. It is all dumb shit.
Everything is dumb shit.
Propaganda is at an all-time high, and people are getting mentally tired of it. Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm in court. I'm tired of this guy making me the product of his content.
Well, it's just there's got to be an end to it.
Like,
literally,
it's totally illegal, him commercially exploiting me and defaming me for dollars, and it's affected my reputation. It's affected us algorithmically, hitting the right audience on YouTube. It's affected us from being able to make money and all that.
I just would want to know how the defendant would feel if you did all of this to him.
He would have sued me a long time ago.
Exactly.
Oh, he would have sued me, and he, if I was using his content, he would be taking my channels down with copyright. He'd be doing the same thing I'm doing to him. That's the funny part. If I can even say that.
That's the ironic part.
It's ironic, right? If I can even say it as funny, it's more ironic. That's the irony behind it, right? Yeah, but it doesn't matter, because all that matters to him is how much money I'm making. This all boils down to him making money, and him, feeling like he's in control, and that he is the victim and I am the villain, right? He's the protector of all people from me, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is like a phenomenon that they kind of go through in that process, or I don't know if phenomenon is the right word. But
that could be it.
Yeah, it's just, they go through a whole, like, come to Jesus talk with themselves, Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I like YouTube and I don't like YouTube. I think it's gotten out of hand, and it has caused our adults to act like children.
There is a good.
No, and I'll get to that. Yeah, I'll get to that. I mean, when you are using your own children or your spouse or somebody else, your friends, to exploit them in order for you to get money and donations, that is just wrong in anybody's book. Exploiting, like, let's say, my seizures and saying, let's raise money for Dawn so she can get away from Eli. That's grifting. You think I'd see a dime of that? Nope. And that's what they do. They go out there to find where the money is.
Right.
Or who the money is.
Now, who has the money?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get to the third and final Reddit we're going to go over. We're at 1 hour and 39 minutes. This is from the subreddit r/psychology talk. This was 8 months ago. It's fairly new. This is a place for their members to have friendly discussions about psychology. This space is not a space for posting about or seeking answers for personal issues. Okay, I'm going to join this. Let me see here. Oops. Okay. All right. So the original poster's title is they deleted their username. Has there been any studies done online, conflict seeking and argument creation among commenters? And this is an example here. Twitter, the only place where where well articulated sentences still get misinterpreted. You can say I like pancakes, and somebody will say, so you hate waffles. And then,
that is so true.
And then they say no B word. That's DATS. That's a whole new sentence. WTF is you talking about? That's Ebonics right there.
Absolute
WTF is you talking about? Anyway, I hope that title makes sense. It does. What I'm wondering, is if there has been any analysis done on all that too familiar online commenter behavior that we see a lot on Reddit, where some strangers have an urge to bad faith argue and pick up anything to create conflicts and arguments. Well, it gets more attention. That's
yeah,
right.
Mm-hmm.
Take the classic "I like X, oh so you hate Y" fallacy. All of us on Reddit, no doubt, had a stranger come out of nowhere and find something in a comment or post to start shit about. And to me, it is just so strange when that happens. Perhaps some of the readers here have this habit. If you do, why? I'm just wondering what drives this need. What do you think?
So what he's basically saying is,
why do people out of the blue just come out and talk shit in a comment section?
Yeah, they do it for attention, obviously.
It could be attention. It could be
they want to manipulate the rest of the people in the chat to think a certain way.
Well, the creator's conditioning their audience to respond a certain way. When creators create more outrage, like we've been saying, it emotionally supercharges their audience or anyone that comes around that posting or that video or live stream on YouTube, and then they're more prone to overreact.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Especially if, the content they're creating involves someone that's pretty down to earth and level-headed, kind of like we are.
Yeah.
Normal, reasonable people, non-drama centric people, people that, like us, that, are cool, calm, and collected. And that's where these people want to be, but their life is in so much chaos because they're focused more on projecting on the internet than, resolving their issues with their doctors or therapists or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just them choosing to go on the internet and, again, project their insecurities onto people that they wish they could be like. And if they're responding on a drama channel, the drama channel is probably talking about someone that the drama channel owner and the commenters wish they could be like.
Yeah.
It's like a double projection stemming from the creator to the people commenting about, down to earth people and cool, calm, and collected people they wish they could be like. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Let me see here. Sometimes the person will never relent or let go of their need to argue. Well, we've seen that because, once that stops, they're out of business.
Mm-hmm.
Once the back and forth stops, once the controversy or chaos stops, you're out of business.
Yeah.
So they got to find ways to keep it going. Like they've tried to keep it going with me for 6 years. And I finally had enough after 6 years figuring they would stop. They hadn't stopped. They kept on going, and they kept on repeating the same shit that their audience kept donating to.
Yeah.
Even without us reacting.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to the point of where, okay, we're going to court. Now we're going to go handle this in court.
Yeah.
Okay? So sometimes the person will never relent or let go of their need to argue and fight with their target, even when clarity on their original gripe has been given, even when others pipe up. And when you give clarity, you cut off the oxygen for the outrage, which puts them out of business, right?
Mm-hmm.
The last thing these drama creators want is clarity when they need constant outrage to keep it going.
Yeah.
So you coming in there trying to be reasonable is only going to make the matters worse. They're going to double down on something else, or they will make something up about you to keep their audience around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right? Even when clarity on their original gripe has been given, even when others pipe up and call out their behavior, I'm the king of calling out that behavior.
You
so
are.
You, but I'm the king of that.
You are.
So even when others pipe up and call out their behavior as appearing obsessed, and they are obsessed, even when they are getting downvoted to oblivion, well, they have soccer accounts that are upvoting them to offset the downvotes, but that's not the right way to do it. It's not gonna it's gonna hurt their algorithmic reach when they game the system. Their need to have the conflict persist. That's what we're saying. Without the conflict, they're out of business, right?
Yeah.
Online comment sections have this problem all over the internet and have done for years. I'd be curious to see if there is some connection with a personality disorder or other issue and conflict seeking online. The creators are doing it on purpose as their content. Do they have issues? Yes. Are there? Go ahead.
I know we've talked a lot about mental health issues, but that is not something we have talked about, is personality disorders. And if, when you have those, you could be one person at one moment and literally change to another.
Like being bipolar?
Bipolar, split personality, stuff like that. And it comes with triggers. And sometimes it reverts them back to a vulnerable time.
Okay.
Sometimes it'll push them to a time that made them angry, or another time that, I don't know, something happened with that one. It could be anything. You know what I'm saying?
So what you're saying is, it could be a personality disorder in some cases. In other cases, it could be just them acting on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
When we say someone is performing, that's different than having a personality disorder, right? So some people may be acting without this personality disorder just to make money, but then they turn off YouTube and then they're a normal person in the real world. That is a possibility.
That is a possibility, and that's something that a lot of people, do at times where people are not quite sure if that's really what's happening. It's such a subtle shift.
Well, that's the point. The point is for their audience to see that as who they are.
Yeah.
Because it keeps them around. Right? And then it keeps the other side calling out their shitty behavior, even though they're just acting, and it keeps the back and forth going.
Yeah.
Right? So the audience of that type of creator, even when they're performing versus projecting, performing versus projecting, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Even when they're performing, they're performing to basically get reactions from the other side. That's the normal side, calling them out, calling out their piss poor behavior, and then it keeps the back and forth going for the pretend acting, drama creator, and then their audience loves it because they're seeing the shit show.
And do you know a perfect person that does that? Mr. Donald J. Trump.
Oh, Donald J. Trump is the master of all that, baby.
Master.
DJT is the master. And even his own people are starting to really turn on him. He's got the lowest approval rating in the history of any president, even lower than his first term. We'll talk about that another time. We got to do an updated show on what's really going on with Donald Trump lately. We're going to get closer to midterms later on this year in 2026, so That should be interesting. But should we read a couple comments and then wrap it up?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Dangerous Age 337 says it's just reward chasing, right? It's the reward loop. People who are addicted to social media are addicted to the dopamine response they get whenever they experience feelings of social dominance. And that's what some of these creators that are running drama channels feel. They feel social dominance on social media because in the real world, they're not secure enough to go and be able to feel like they can dominate in the real world. So they basically try to pretend dominate on the internet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add to that?
No.
Same behavior as drug addicts. Anyone challenging their next fix is seen as the enemy and will be run down with anger and aggression. Just
absolutely.
Like trying to tell you to stop drinking years ago.
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell an alcoholic to stop drinking. They have to be able to do it on their own, right?
And it's very, very difficult for an addict to take criticism from a non-addict.
Right.
They come across to addicts as being like they're superior to us because we have a disease and they don't. So I would say the best thing is talking to somebody with the same problems as you. Somebody that has recovered and is still in recovery,
Yeah.
That's what I would suggest.
Yeah. Final question. I have nothing more to add to that. Well said. Well done.
Well done. Well said.
Final question by a deleted username. The comment is still there. It truly is as if some people aren't even comprehending the words. They're going on a feelings-based idea of the definitions mean. Well, they're performing to get attention, usually to make money. That's what it is.
Yeah. It's for a reaction.
It's easy money initially. Maintaining it means you have to keep on amplifying and doing more and more crazier things that A, risk you getting removed from the platform, or B, risk somebody in the real world if you're showing your face using your real name coming around you and harming you. Yeah, I mean, look what happened to Charlie Kirk. He had some of the most outrageous opinions and thoughts about marriages and women and all that, and I'm like, wow. I mean, wow.
It's just in today's day and age, it's like you're surprised to hear a man of his age to be thinking and feeling this way. I expect, 90-year-old grandpa to be like, no, the women need to be in the kitchen. But this is a kid, essentially, early 30s.
His wife, very smart, very mature, very, down to earth. I don't understand how she could stand for what her husband, God rest his soul, he didn't deserve to die. How could she support the stuff that he was saying? And we did a show on that. And
well, I think, I don't think she necessarily supported everything.
But she knew all that controversy.
But she knew it was going to make money.
And it made them a lot of money, and she's living a good life because of that. So he created outrage that really has nothing to do with his vision or hers. He basically played the role of somebody saying that, women this, women that, and maybe he kind of felt like that a little bit. I mean, I think all men to a certain extent wish things were more in the traditional days, but, quite honestly, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. I think, women having equal rights and equal opportunities, they should have always had that. Why should only men have, equal rights? Why should only men have rights and women can't have rights too, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was just the Charlie Kirk situation. Yes, his death was very traumatic, but he put himself in harm's way with his mouth because he knew that podcast, which is where he said all that, that's what made him all the money. That's what grew Turning Point USA.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Being controversial is where the money came from. If he wasn't like that, they wouldn't have made this money.
Yeah, but, there's a fine line when it comes to being controversial where sometimes you cross over it and it's not okay.
Well, he didn't deserve to die, but look what happened.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
It cost him his life.
Very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. But I bet if he wasn't like that, I bet you that wouldn't have happened.
Because you know what? Actions cause reactions. His actions caused an action of somebody else who didn't feel the same way as him.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. It is difficult to read context in plain text, yes, but also where did all this projection come from? I just said I liked pancakes. Was this the original poster?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was. No, it wasn't the OP. Edit typo. Okay. No, I get it. I get it. Most people don't comprehend the words. It's all about how they feel, and they're going to react based on how they feel. They're going to consume content based on how they feel.
And that's a good point is the misinterpretation of what's being out there to how it makes them feel. Even though somebody can be like, this is my point, this is where I'm coming from, it also depends on how that person's taking it,
Right.
That's why I say action, reaction.
You're right. You're right. I'm going to read these next two and then we're going to wrap it up. We're at 1 hour and 56 minutes. This is very important. They are trying to feed an emotional need which they are unable to satisfy elsewhere. So they're coming online because they're struggling in the real world. Essentially, they are looking for dragons to slay. It is a basic human drive that shows up in different ways. The desire to be in a state of preservation.
Preserverance.
There we go.
I can't see it, guys.
Of preservance and overcoming of resistance. To right or wrong, to solve a problem, whether it's vanquishing a monster or protecting your plants from disease, it is the same. TLDR, they literally have nothing better to do. And that's what happens is when they feel like, they're not fulfilled in the real world, they come on the internet to try to find that fulfillment, and then they get stuck in this endless drama loop. And they think it's something good, but it's not. They're just slipping further the opposite way.
Yeah.
Is the truth of the matter, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, I agree.
Anything else?
Nope.
Final one. This one's interesting. NAP, just speculation. What is that NAP, N-A-P? I think it is a mix of issues. People are encouraged to act and react negatively due to algorithms favoring, and it's Favoring, so they're from the UK. Emotionally driven content, right. Since most of our replies are happening with strangers, we don't see them as anything beyond the only opinion they have posted. It is easier to dismiss, ridicule, and hate someone we didn't know existed before 2 minutes ago and get high on the feeling of being right and just when joining a dog pile. And I've been dogpiled constantly.
Yes, you have.
Oh, man. There is no seen advantage on big platforms to giving people respect, nuance, or the benefit of the doubt in any differing opinion, especially political opinions, but not exclusively, because then you're seen as untrustworthy to your own side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, I've personally experienced a drop in the lack of reading comprehension in others. Yeah, have you noticed that people cannot read nowadays?
And they can't spell either.
Right.
Even with spell check.
The big words sometimes get to me every now and then. But
pronunciation of bigger words are harder.
some words, especially when you're reading them fast and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a lot of people that are illiterate or borderline illiterate.
I would just say that they are slow and maybe naive to internet, or very they're not very well at grammar or English, could be anything.
Yeah, well said. Also, I've personally experienced a drop in the lack of reading comprehension in others. You just said that.
Yeah.
Amen. Even when I've only posted a single sentence, which makes the statistics of decreasing reading ability in the past few years unsurprising, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
It's no surprise to you or I.
No.
No surprise at all, huh? Anything else you want to add to that so far?
I don't think so.
All right, last part here. But all of these issues mentioned rarely happen on small topic-based forums where everyone knows everyone and regulars can read someone's intent better than total outsiders can. It is the major anything goes platforms, YouTube, Twitter, X, Facebook. LinkedIn is actually pretty clean because they're business oriented. But yeah, those ones, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, all of those, Twitter, X, etc. It is the major anything goes platforms who have the pettiest, rage bait inclined populations. That's because that's what makes money for the platform and people.
Mm-hmm.
Because those people are rewarded with emotional rushes like likes, followers, attention, money. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't see that they're contributing to the social decay. They don't care as long as they're making money and getting attention or both. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Back to full screen. 2 hours and 1 minute. Babe.
Well, that's good. Not bad.
Final thoughts you want to make?
Not too many final thoughts. I think it was pretty much well said what we talked about throughout the show. My only advice to people out there, as always, put yourself in the other person's shoes and how would you feel if that was being done to you, and to just be kind. Realize just because you're behind a screen doesn't need to make you be a fake person. I mean, always be true to who you really are. And if that's the case and you're still acting a fool, then you're a fool.
And speaking of not being fake, this is a real escalator that we're going to go down.
Shut up.
At the end of the show here.
You're hysterical.
When I turn around, all we see is green. We see green felt all along this back wall here. Yeah, it's a green screen. We all know. We've said it earlier. All right, I've got nothing else to say, babe. That was beautiful. Babe, it is time to start wrapping this up. All right. You've been listening to the Don and Eli Take on the World podcast, and this has been episode number 45. And the title of this episode was Why Some People Can't De-Escalate Online. One more time, episode number 45 of the Don and Eli Take on the World podcast was titled Why Some People Can't
De-Escalate Online.
De-Escalate Online. That's right, baby. All right, before we get on out of here, let's remind everyone one more time that if you're listening to us on the audio-only podcast network, we're on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, my lady's favorite,
iHeartRadio.
One more time.
iHeartRadio.
And third time's a charm.
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio. We're also on Amazon's Audible. We're also on YouTube's Music and the rest of the not as popular, not as well-known audio-only podcast networks. If you're listening to us on the audio-only podcast network, wherever that may be, and you would like to watch the video version of our podcast, it is hosted on our main YouTube channel. You can go halfway down that description section and click the link. That'll redirect you to our main YouTube channel, G&A, Genuine Personal Development. When you go there, subscribe, bang the bell, and select the notifications so you don't miss anything. Then go below that description about couple lines down, you'll see the link to our secondary live streaming channel, GNA2, Genuine Live Personal Development, where we go live, if not every day, almost every day, very regularly. You want to subscribe there, bang the bell, bang, bang, bang the bell, select the notifications so you don't miss anything. Now, with that being said, it's time to go now. Have a good one, baby. Take care. And as always, baby, as always,
be
good to each other.